This week's blog is a question from Thomas O., who lives in Linwood, Washington. Thomas asked, with all you know now, what would be your top 5 words of wisdom you would want others to know or possess for success? And to answer that question, I need to share a short story with you first. Don't worry, it's one that I wanted to share with you anyway. I started my law practice in Everett, Washington on May 16th, 2003. With the help of a lawyer that took me under his wing, my practice grew crazy mad, exponentially. By 2005, I began hiring and had to move to a bigger office in Bothell, Washington. Over the next 5 years, I kept hiring and ended up with more trial lawyers in my office than the local county, Snohomish County, had active courtrooms to defend cases. And I had that many clients. It just made sense to expand my office and keep growing. And I was going to start with Everett, Washington. And so I bought a building in Everett, Washington, and I was remodeling it, and that was the second office. And then after that, I was going to move to Tacoma, then Skagit, then Yakima. Then after that, I wasn't sure. Wherever it seemed to make sense. I, at the time, was making money hand over fist, crazy amounts of money, more than I could spend. Ask anybody who was around. We tried. If you were around, we tried to spend it. Back then, I was back on like 13 radio stations, TV occasionally, all over the web. If someone looked at me in my suit as I walked into a courtroom, they just assumed that that was what success looked like. And I'll be honest with you, for quite a long time, I bought into that too. I believed that that was what success looked like. A bunch of money, a suit, and power, and things like that. Well, for reasons that I'll talk about in another blog at some point in the future, I was seeing a shrink once a week back then. And he was really good at putting things into perspective for me. And I walked in one day like I always did and sat down, and he asked, "Hey Heidi, how you doing?" Just like he always does. And I answered, "Wow, 2 offices is more than twice as much work as one. Who knew?" And his response kind of shocked me just a little bit. I had to think about it for a minute. Like I said, he was very good at putting things in perspective. And he said to me, "Yeah, I was going to ask you, why are you doing that?" It's like, "What do you mean, why am I doing that? I have the business. Because that's what it means to be successful, right, Doc?" And he very quickly reminded me that I wasn't talking to my daughter at the time, over something we'll talk about in a blog at some other point, but essentially money and power and all of those things. And there was this girl that I believe was my dream girl, and I was crying over her quite a bit because work and things like that. I never really got an opportunity to start that relationship, and so that really hurt me quite a bit. And he started reminding me of these things, and we talked about what success really looked like. And I went home, and I thought about it, and I got up the next day, and I promptly started moving to close my office in Everett and then to downsize to Bothell because I had never planned on working longer than May 16th, 2003. That was or 13. That was exactly 10 years, and that's always been my plan. And so I was just going to wind down, kind of let people go and have a life. And so I guess what I learned in that hour, to answer your question, is success is never about money. Success, what I've learned, is about memories and going out and making as many memories as possible. And, people will say, of course, you need money, Heidi, to make memories. And, they'll point out that I've made a lot of memories and it took a lot of money to do that. But I've always been that way. I was on food stamps before I was a lawyer. And even back then, me and my partner, we pawned a car back in school so that we could go on a vacation that I'm glad that we did. We eventually got that car back. You do. There was a time that we didn't buy school books so we could go see an Eagles concert, or it could have been Elton John or Steve Miller. I don't know, because we made so many memories that I can't even remember. That's how many. And so, to me, with everything that I know now, I would say that success, you need a little money for it, sure. But that's not what it's about. Success is about making memories. People aren't always going to be around. Things are going to change. That's just how it is. But you have those memories. The one with the most money at death is not the winner. The one with the most memories is. So get out there, because from what I can tell, you guys are running behind.